Cool. And now we're live on Instagram too. Hey everybody, good morning. How you guys doing? We're live here on Zoom. We're live at holymountain.co. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. And now we're live on Instagram. And I'll pull
Instagram is live.
Okay, cool. I don't need to confirm that. Cool. We're live on everything. We are getting a bit of a late start today. I am going to let folks, we'll give it a couple minutes for folks to get here because I started late and we're not on our usual schedule. So the least I could do is be understanding and let people show up. For our kind of learning portion this week, we've really been focused on symbols and signs, and not yesterday because we were in the technical difficulties, but 2 days ago we looked at those European cave symbols, and as I pointed out with Cosmic, they very much appear like many of the African spiritual symbols. And yesterday I was trying to play some videos on that, but I had all kinds of trouble. Luckily, once I rebooted my computer, I was able to compile a bunch of that stuff, and so I have some great videos lined up. Let's give it maybe 5-ish minutes. I'm going to send some text to some people who asked me when we were starting, and then we'll get going. How are you guys doing? How are you, Chris? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while, bro. Probably means you're doing good because you're busy.
Yes. So it's 9 a.m. my time that we have the Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
That's prime time for training still.
Oh, totally. That makes a great deal of sense.
Yeah. If I have a client, I won't be able to tune in. But if I'm in between, or because I'm about to go to another training facility right now. So, perfect. But yeah, I've been doing good, dude. I got my ass kicked by Cos last night, bro.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Dropped some bars, and then I was in his Hoodoo Bible study class last night.
Okay.
And he's just been breaking things down. Like, he's just breaking down the Bible. I'm one of the people who asked him, like, what's the best book to learn, like, Hoodoo?
And he said the Bible, of course.
Bible, and he's breaking it down, so it's just like I gotta digest everything. Like,
I'm hoping he could get here because I know he's gonna really fucking love these videos I'm about to show. Let me text him.
That's great, man.
Because if not, I'll show him the replay. You can join us on Zoom. But I got some great videos I'm about to show. Alright, we'll see if that's enough to tempt Cosmic over here. But, if you guys were up late, though, no, I talked to Cos at 3:15 this morning, my time, 5:15 his morning, as he was going into prayer, so he's probably sleeping now, actually. Yeah, we had a late one last night. My buddy Cass came over and helped me process an animal that I've needed to process. We just realized it was there for 6 months. It had been sitting in the temple 6 months, and, like, it didn't smell good, I'm not going to lie, but it did not seem like something that had been decaying for 6 months. Oh, cool. Cass says he's going to be here in 10 minutes, so I'll just hang out and BS for 10 minutes if that's cool. I don't want him to miss it. But yeah, we processed a large animal last night, and whenever, I don't know how much experience you guys have cutting up animals, but whenever you're cutting up an animal that you don't really know when it came from, and you don't know the state it's in, there's this, like, right off the back. Hey Lisa, thanks for watching on Twitch. Welcome. Yeah, whenever we were taking apart a big bird, and the goal is to keep it as intact as you can, but you don't know how intact you can keep it. Like in an ideal Egyptian sense, right? We would just very gently split it open, remove the organs, wash out the cavity, and try to preserve everything. But depending on how much has happened in that stomach since death, and how many other creatures have started to use that body as a residence, there's a wide range of things, and you don't know till you get in there. So there was a lot. There was a lot. I as I had feared, because I've had it all over winter, but as I had significantly feared by the time it started getting
around, right? And he's like getting close.
As it started getting warm last week, I started being like, starting to smell gamey in here, and then from there, it started getting to the point where I was like, yesterday I saw a fly going in and out of there. I was supposed to wait till Sunday to process it, and I was like, I can't wait anymore. This thing's putting maggots in there. Hey, we got people watching on Facebook. What's up to William Graves watching on Facebook? Cool. I like when people watch on a lot of different platforms. Thank you for joining us. So for those of you joining us for the first time, it's a little off our normal schedule, but this is what we do every morning with Holy Mountain Spiritual Temple. We're going to be learning some stuff. We'll be doing a meditation, and then we'll be going into prayer. The whole thing takes a little less than an hour, depending on how much we jibber jabber. Could be more than an hour. Hey, what's up to Jayani? Thanks for checking us out on Facebook. So what we've been talking about the past week or so on here has been symbolism. And we started with the very sort of academic high level. What is a symbol? How does semantics work? And there's symbols across, even what are words and things like that. And we've moved from there kind of to look at spiritual symbolism. We looked at a little bit at esoteric symbolism. We looked a little bit at the symbols, in European cave paintings. Today, we have a couple videos we're going to watch about African symbol systems that kind of transmute and both serve the purpose of language and as a spiritual communication and working systems. So you may be familiar with some of them, especially people who are in Afro-Cuban traditions. What we're going to learn today, especially if you do have a background in those traditions, may surprise you in some things. I definitely thought I knew a bunch about this stuff, but then hearing African scholars talking about it, which is what we're going to check out today, I learned a lot more. Right? There's a lot of stuff I didn't know. So very cool stuff. I'm excited to share it. Dr. Cosmic is going to be with us relatively momentarily, so I'm kind of stalling so you can watch the whole video. In the meantime, we could chit-chat and jibber-jab. I don't really know what else to say. Oh, I guess I do know what else to say. I know I could say two things real quick. One, at noon today, an hour from now, so it's probably going to be a little late, HoodooMoses.com, restock coming. We're going to have basically just the most popular stuff, the stuff that people ask me for the most of. I've spent this week putting together as much of it as I can. I'm going to post it. It's not a lot. There's 20 bottles. The most there is of anything is 20 bottles of one oil. Some oils is 4 bottles, right? I just put together what I could. So that's all going to be posted in a couple hours here. I expect it'll go pretty quick. Don't miss out on that. Also, speaking of don't miss out, this Sunday, and I'll be posting about this today on all my channels, we're doing the Evil Eye Workshop. So this is really cool. I've never offered it in this format before. I've offered the Evil Eye class before. But the difference is, and that goes through, the history of the Evil Eye. What is the Evil Eye? How does it work? What are the metaphysics of the Evil Eye? What are the common symptoms? How does someone give you the Evil Eye? How does someone develop the ability to give someone the Evil Eye? All that stuff. So that's the first half. And then we're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to demonstrate making my Evil Eye oil. And then if you sign up for the class, you're going to get a bottle of that oil as well, the one I make. And you'll know how to make it yourself if you run out or whatever. So that's all this Sunday. I do still have a package going for that. I will be promoting that far and wide over the rest of the day. I think that's all the news I have, but I feel like there's something else important. Is there something else important?
I don't think so.
Okay. That's it. All right, those are the two big news items we got then. So, well, you want to join us, buddy? Are you going to head out?
Wash my hands.
Yeah, wash your hands, man. My friend Cassidy over there, who was helping me with the dirty work last night, it probably still smells like...
Yeah, they still smell a little like dead flesh.
Little bit like dead animal. Yeah. That's okay. That's a good way to wake up in the morning, especially after. It's good to wash your hands after you eat your breakfast. From that, that's what we discovered here. So I'm going to just set up the screen sharing, be ready to do that. Kaz should be here momentarily. Honestly, we're probably going to start because I don't have that much more to say. I've given all my announcements. I have very little else that I can regale you guys with. So boom, plop over to here, and then of course. You guys don't need to see my Restream dashboard. You guys need to see this. Cool. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and share it for the Zoom folks. And that seems to be working a little bit better than it had last week. Sorry that everything crashed out at this point yesterday. Zoom folks, I think you're still with me. I don't think we're going to crash out today. I do have, I did some troubleshooting yesterday. I realized that I had lowered my fan settings to quiet them, and I think that caused us to not be able to push all the weight we had to push. Anyway, here we go. This is a talk by Saki Mafundikwa, Ingenuity and Elegance in Ancient African Alphabets. As usual, I'm basically going to shut my mic and just play this. I do have comments, but I think I'm going to give those more in the second video. I don't know that I have any comments on this one. This one's just a short 8-minute video to introduce us to Incivity, and then we'll talk more about that. Except, you know what I realized? That's a load of shit, because there is no audio for everyone who's following us, not from, I don't know why. I'm going to work on that. As always, trying to figure out how in the heck audio in here for you guys. There we go. Playback device. Okay, here we go. So let me try this now, and I think you guys should have audio now.
I moved back home 15 years ago after a 20-year stay in the United States, and Africa called me back. And I founded my country's first...
You guys still don't have audio on the Instagram. Give me one more second that. Try it again, because it was showing the levels. And I don't know why it doesn't want to play out. That's a bummer. I wish someone had told me about this before now. I think I have it fixed. I think I have it fixed now.
That would make sense.
I think I have it fixed. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to press play again and just make sure that it's playing for you guys.
First graphic design and new media college, and I called it the Zimbabwe Institute of Digital Arts.
That looks like it's playing better for
the
you.
The idea,
so I'll shut up, rewind,
really
and do this
for
again.
A sort of a
Appreciate your patience as we troubleshoot the technical problems. All right, I'm going to mute my mic, and you can hear someone who knows about this topic talk about it.
I moved back home 15 years ago after a 20-year stay in the United States, and Africa called me back. And I founded my country's first graphic design and new media college, and I called it the Zimbabwe Institute of Digital Arts. The idea, the dream, was really for a sort of a Bauhaus sort of school where new ideas were interrogated and investigated. The creation of a new visual language based on the African creative heritage. We offer a 2-year diploma to talented students who have successfully completed their high school education. And typography is a very important part of the curriculum, and we encourage our students to look inward for influence. Here's a poster designed by one of the students under the theme, Education is a Right. Some logos designed by my students. Africa has had a long tradition of writing, but this is not such a well-known fact. And I wrote the book, African Alphabets, to address that. The different types of writing in Africa. First was proto-writing, as illustrated by Ncibidi, which is a writing system of a secret society of the Ejagham people in southern Nigeria. So it's a special interest writing system. The Akan people of Ghana and Sierra Leone developed Adinkra symbols some 400 years ago. And these are proverbs, historical sayings, objects, animals, plants. And my favorite Adinkra system is the first one at the top on the left. It's called Sankofa. It means return and get it. Learn from the past. This pictograph by the Jokwe people of Angola tells the story of the creation of the world. At the top is God, at the bottom is man, mankind, and on the left is the sun, on the right is the moon. All the paths lead to and from God. These secret societies of the Yoruba, Congo, and Palo religions in Nigeria, Congo, and Angola respectively developed this intricate writing system, which is alive and well today in the New World in Cuba, Brazil, and Trinidad and Haiti. In the rainforests of the Democratic Republic of Congo, in the Ituri Society, the men pound out a cloth out of a special tree, and the women, who are also the praise singers, paint interweaving patterns that are the same in structure as the polyphonic structures that they use in their singing.
Okay, I lied. I said that I wasn't going to interrupt this talk, but that point actually is really heavy. I hope no one missed it. That the pattern of the visual representations on the cloth is the same as the polyphonic structure of the praise songs that they sing. This is like how I was talking about yesterday, how cultures are, I've called it holographic, how even the food of a culture has to do with their spirituality, which has to do with their song, which has to do with their dance, which has to do with their mathematics, which has to do with their arts. You can't separate these things. So even the cloth has to do with the singing. It's the pattern itself that is part of the culture, not just the design or the song or what have you. We'll continue now and I'll mute myself.
Sort of a musical score, if you may. In South Africa, the Ndebele women use these symbols and other geometric patterns to paint their homes in bright colors. And the Zulu women use the symbols in the beads that they weave into bracelets and necklaces. Ethiopia has had the longest tradition of writing, with the Ethiopic script that was developed in 4th century AD and is used to write Amharic, which is spoken by over 24 million people. King Ibrahim Joya of the Bamum Kingdom of Cameroon developed Shumum at the age of 25. Shumum is a writing system. It's a syllabary. It's not exactly an alphabet. And here we see 3 stages of development that it went through in 30 years. The Vai people of Liberia had a long tradition of literacy before their first contact with Europeans in the 1800s. It's a syllabary and reads from left to right. Next door, in Sierra Leone, the Mende also developed a syllabary, but theirs reads from right to left. Africa has had a long tradition of design, a well-defined design sensibility. But the problem in Africa has been that, especially today, designers in Africa struggle with all forms of design because they are more apt to look outward for influence and inspiration. The creative spirit in Africa, the creative tradition, is as potent as it has always been, if only designers could look within. This Ethiopic cross illustrates what Dr. Ron Eglash has established, that Africa has a lot to contribute to computing and mathematics through their intuitive grasp of fractals. Africans of antiquity created civilization, and their monuments, which still stand today, are a true testimony of their greatness. Most probably, one of humanity's greatest achievements is the invention of the alphabet, and that has been attributed to Mesopotamia with their invention of cuneiform in 1600 BC, followed by hieroglyphics in Egypt. And that story has been cast in stone as historical fact. That is until 1998, when one professor...
Just a bit of editorial here. I want you to see what he's going to show you. He's going to show you an alphabet here. And if any of you have taken my Hebrew folk magic course, or heard me talk about the Hebrew alphabet, I want you to see if any of this looks familiar to you.
Yale professor John Coleman Donnell discovered these inscriptions in the Thebes desert on the limestone cliffs in western Egypt. And these have been dated at between 1800 and 1900 BC, centuries before Mesopotamia. called Wadi El Hol because of the place that they were discovered. These inscriptions, research is still going on. A few of them have been deciphered, but there is consensus amongst scholars that this is really humanity's first alphabet. Over here, you see a paleographic chart that shows what has been deciphered.
So we already have some stuff that is very... First of all, you'll notice that this is a Semitic language from North Africa, west of Egypt. But the first letter is Aleph, which is an ox head, which Aleph in Hebrew is. The second letter is Bet, which is a house, which is the same in Hebrew. We go on down to Vav. The tent pole is the same as Hebrew. Lamed, the whip or the the whip or the rope. Mem, water. These are the same. Nun being serpent. Ayin as eye. These are all the same, right? So it's interesting that this is older than cuneiform, right? This is older than hieroglyphics. We'll continue.
So far, starting with the letter A, Aleph at the top, and Bet in the middle, and so forth. It is time that students of design in Africa read the works of titans like Cheikh Anta Diop, Senegal's Cheikh Anta Diop, whose seminal work on Egypt is vindicated by this discovery. The last word goes to the great Jamaican leader, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and the Akan people of Ghana with their Adinkra symbol, Sankofa, which encourages us to go to the past so as to inform our present and build on a future for us and our children. It is also time that designers in Africa stop looking outside. They've been looking outward for a long time, yet what they were looking for has been right there within grasp, right within them. Thank you very much.
So that one was really cool. He told us a little about Nsibidi. We're going to go learn a lot more about it on a very, very cool channel I just found. This brother, I don't know. I got to introduce myself to this dude. I don't know if Dr. Cosmic, you're familiar with this channel, The Medicine Shell. But I was very, very, very impressed with the scholarship of this. And so I'm excited to share this one with you next. And by the way, I want to tell everyone, I've decided in my heart, and I've taken a vow, though it is against my lower principles, I'm going to pay for YouTube Plus, so you guys don't have to watch commercials anymore when we do these things.
Introducing.
See, like, no one wants this. I know that no one wants to watch this, hear this, wait for me to flip through and then forget to unmute and all that. We're taking care of that. We're taking care of that this weekend.
The Medicine Shell, and today I'm going to discuss Nsibidi, the sacred and often secret language culture of what is now East Nigeria and southwestern Cameroon. Studying Nsibidi was a journey. Every route I took led to a closed door, and every stone I turned led to more questions. Nsibidi is a language of mystery, guarded by a secret society, but at the same time flourishing in our ancestral world. And from this example, you see the paradox in a lot of what I encountered and learned. Nsibidi is the language of contradiction. In its prime, it united uncommon people, but at the same time distinguished the elite from the rest. It gets its name from a word meaning language of dread. But most of the preserved writing we have from the ancestral era tells of stories of love, friendship, relationships, intimate scandals, and humor. It is the language of a secret society of men, but was first used by women. It is a dead language, though today its spiritual elements are more alive than ever. And upon digging further, something clicked, and it all came together. And from there, I learned the full power, story, and gained a deeper understanding of what Nsibidi is. I also learned to write in the language, and from there it has become a part of my spiritual development. In this video, I'll reveal what I learned about Nsibidi that changed the way I view the script, as well as written language as a whole, and how writing Nsibidi became a part of my own spiritual practice and personal growth in my journey through Igbo cosmology.
Yeah, I'm going to just pause here real quick, guys. The subtitles are obviously auto-generated. He's not saying in CBD, he's saying in CBD. So, yeah.
But first I'll share what Insibidi is, how it works, how it is used, and then finally reaching the spiritual revelation that unlocked its secrets for me. Long ago, the people between the Cross and Calabar rivers learned that in order to keep themselves safe from the nighttime dangers of the forest, they would need to keep a fire lit. And therefore, when people would enter the forest at night, they would set up a fire. And around that fire, they remained safe to hunt, pray, and meditate through the night. For when the creatures of the forest saw the fire, they would run. From the trees above, something dropped before the people. And when the people saw what dropped before them, they ran, the same way the beast had run from their fire. These visitors were the Idiok. The Idiok were a baboon-like species that did not fear fire nor man, and in fact the presence of both brought them out of their hiding and into the camps and campfires of the visitors. So when people lit fires, the Idiok would emerge from the darkness, and the people would run back to the village, one after another, and another, until one village dared to hold still. This was the village of Uguakim. For the people of Uguakim were not afraid of apes, and upon staying still and observing them, the people of Uguakim noticed something was different about the Idiok. The Uguakim held their position and watched the Idiok, until after some time the Idiok began to write signs on the ground which the Uguakim did not understand. The Uguakim also noticed that every time an Idiok would make a sign in the sand, it would also make a matching sign through hand gestures and body movement. Soon, the Uguakim learned through observation that the signs on the ground meant the same as the signs of the hand. And after many nights, the Idiok taught the Uguakim the sign language, as well as the scripted language known as Insibidi. And from there, the people of Uguakim emerged from the forest to teach the world of the new revelation. Insibidi is a communication tradition that spans a host of cultures in the region between southeast Nigeria and southwest Cameroon. Its oldest known artifacts, the Ikom monoliths near the community of Alok Ikom, date back 1,500 years ago by most estimates. The monoliths themselves feature multiple Insibidi inscriptions, and till this day are of mysterious origin. Insibidi is a three-part communication culture that is made up of gestural Insibidi, or Insibidi Sign Language, spoken Insibidi, as well as ideographic written Insibidi, which is the form most of the world is familiar with today. I will explain Insibidi Sign Language and spoken Insibidi shortly, but to understand the core nature of the language, it's best to start with the written form. Insibidi is written in a code of ideographs. An ideograph is a symbol that represents thoughts or concepts as opposed to sounds as we have in the phonetic systems that we often use today. Because each unit in the language represents a whole idea rather than a sound, ideographic languages, such as Insibidi, are universal and do not need to be translated when switching from one language to another. This nature gives it two advantages. The first is that Insibidi is not read in a single structured format, neither up or down nor left or right, but instead images are observed as a collective whole, and the narrative is decoded by putting all symbols in context with each other. This makes the language ideal for art, decoration, and the building of manifestation sigils, which I'll elaborate on shortly. Decoration at shrines or embellishment on cloth tell long-form narratives with a great deal of flexibility in presentation and expression. The second major advantage is that symbols do not need to change based on the
I expect that at some point in that last montage, most of the folks here familiar with any African traditional religions, African diasporic traditions, are seeing symbols that look familiar in some way, right? So check out how he breaks down the whole history. Oh, I paused right at 444. Awesome.
Language of the speaker, and from this, an Efik speaker can communicate their thoughts with an Igbo or Oran speaker without needing to translate. Because of this convenience, Insibidi grew as a language of its own, spreading from the Cross River region to southwest Cameroon and across the southeast of Nigeria, forming a connective fabric of communication across this diverse region, and even finding its way in the New World, which I'll also explain shortly. An ideogram is one level of abstraction removed from a pictogram, in the sense that each unit of an ideogram is tied to concepts rather than appearance. In a pictogram, images are literal or close to literal translations of what they mean. So the image of a bird comes to mean bird, and the image of a person comes to mean person. In ideographic writing, these concepts become loose abstractions of themselves, though often loosely based on the appearance of the concept, and at times easily recognizable. For example, this is the symbol for person. When bent to the right, it becomes man, and when bent to the left, it becomes woman. When the symbols intersect, they become love, union, family, and relationship. When the symbol of a third person is placed between them, they become division, conflict, breakup, or fight. When the symbol for talk is placed on the edge of each, it becomes a verbal argument. When the symbol of weapon is placed in the picture or on each side, it becomes violent conflict. And when the symbol for stranger, which is the symbol for person minus a leg, is placed in the picture, it becomes arbiter or dispute settler. And from there, this image says, a man and a woman, once happily in love, were divided when a spoiler came between them. Because of this, they exchanged words, and from there, the conflict became violent. It was then that judges from a neighboring community were called to settle the dispute. As you see from the example, the more symbols added to a picture, the more specific the message becomes, allowing for nuance and differentiation within the multiple symbols of a single idea. I can then add signs for tying, confinement, isolation, the number 4, and once again the symbol for unity between the couple. With these symbols forming the core of my script, anything I add in any order will give context to the grander story. For further detail, I can add the symbol for promiscuous woman and the symbol for child. And now the story gives the narrative of a man and a woman, once happily in love, were divided when a promiscuous woman and the cheating husband had a child outside of marriage. Because of this, the couple exchanged words, and soon the argument became violent on both ends. It was then that 3 judges from a neighboring community met with 3 judges from the host community to make a decision on the case. Finally, it was decided that the husband would spend 4 years in isolation before he was reunited with his wife and new child. This specific story is loosely based on an ancestral court document preserved by a visiting European in the village of Enyong, and serves today as a great example of Nsibidi in its practical use. To understand how Nsibidi was used, one of the more revealing clues lie in the subtext of what is preserved and still used from the ancestral era till today. By making a deeper examination of what has been preserved, as well as what is still in use as far as Nsibidi goes, we can better understand how it was used in the ancestral era. Most of the known Nsibidi of today relates to love, conflict, family, and friendship. And this is because the language is written in 2 forms. The first being a public practical form, and second being a secret spiritual one. For most of society, Nsibidi was not only accessible but in full use in the contemporary era, even going as far as being taught in schools until the breakout of the Biafra War. What these students learned was public Nsibidi, which featured symbols that told narratives connected to interpersonal relationships, business, and formal addresses for practical use. Use of Nsibidi was common enough in this era for over 500 known symbols of public Nsibidi to be common sight in the region before the outbreak of the war. From them, we gain insight into relationship scandals, court decisions, humor, and gossip, as well as business transactions of our ancestors. Public Nsibidi was used by both men and women, and likely primarily women as it made its way into Uli, a symbolic art form for women primarily used in adorning homes, shrines, and famously in temporary tattoos that typically lasted 8 days. It is also important to note that all forms of Nsibidi were first revealed by the Idiok to women, and it was only later in history that men took control of its most powerful elements, forming a private wing of the language. To understand sacred Nsibidi, one must first understand its sacred guardian. The Egbe Society is an esoteric brotherhood of initiated men that formed a secret society which controlled and united communities across the Ejagam, Efik, Igbo, Oron, Ibibio, and Anan cultures. The Egbe Society determined priests, community heads, and judges in the societies they held sway. They established courts, police forces, trade guilds, and the most elite positioning within these institutions required individuals to be members of the order before they could be obtained. Among the many ways members distinguished themselves was in the wearing of ukara ekwe, a sacred cloth embellished with Nsibidi which can only be woven by the hands of a woman from the village region of Ezilo. One of the closely guarded privileges of the Egbe Lodge is the full knowledge of the sacred Nsibidi script, as well as Nsibidi sign language and the secret Nsibidi language spoken through the mouth. Secret Nsibidi featured symbols used for war, government, and most importantly, sigil magic, a form of will manifestation built around written patterns, symbols, and designs. The sigil magic of Nsibidi is used in meditation, prayer, will manifestation, and most importantly, divination. While little is known to the outside world about the spiritual form of Nsibidi, from observation one can see that it follows tighter structural rules, featuring a greater deal of symmetry and coordination of its sacred symbols. Much of what is written in the sacred form are revelations from sessions of divination, placed in places of prayer, shrines, and personal altars, in order to manifest messages from the hidden universe into reality. The Egbe used the sacred form of the language to spread secret messages in plain sight between a vast network of governing lodges. Often, traveling members would document information of communities where passing Egbe members could see it. These messages can be formal warnings and notifications, as well as instructions of action. It was also used in long-distance communication, with an element of deception. Often a message was given verbally to a messenger, and then Insibidi was written on his body. The dual messages can then be one of two things. First, it can be a way of holding the messenger accountable, as what is written on the body must match what comes out of the mouth. Secondly, it was a way of sending secret messages, as a decoy message would come out verbally, while the true message was written on the body in plain sight. In times of war, these messages coordinated the multilingual military alliances of the Arochukwu Confederacy into a single attack force, able to successfully coordinate battle through writing, signing, and speaking the hidden portions of the Insibidi language. Egbe is also a masquerade society, which controls and presents masquerades such as Ekbo, Egbe, Akata, and Ekon. These masquerades serve as entertainment as well as policing units in communities. They're also an effective means of displaying the esoteric prowess of the leopard society. One of the ways of doing this is by using the masquerades to present signed and verbal Insibidi. During the ceremonies, masquerade controllers coordinated the phases of the drama the masquerades would perform using signed Insibidi. This is also an opportunity to spread messages among Epe members in the audience. The masquerades themselves would then speak and be spoken to in verbal Insibidi. Little is known about signed and verbal Insibidi outside of the society, but what little that has been revealed gives insight into the nature of the language. Verbal Insibidi includes words such as Ibang, Ikbasi, Ekbaku, and Ofobi, and most interestingly, Abokwa, which I'll explain shortly. While Ikbasi is said to mean coconut and Ibang may mean anchor, used as Insibidi they become code with their true meaning held secret by the Egbe, and it has remained so for thousands of years in the region as well as the island of Cuba. The Egbe Society spread to the island of Cuba, where it became the Abukwa. Through the transatlantic slave trade, the rights, knowledge, and structure of the Egbe Society resurfaced in the Cuban town of Regla. Through the Abukwa, traditions of the Egbe live on, though often taking on local influences, but fundamentally remaining connected to the Egbe despite over 100 years of separation. The Abukwa, through their underground structure and hidden knowledge, served as a rally point for the Cuban underground, and are today synonymous with rebellion and resistance to oppressive regimes, colonialism, and slavery. Most importantly, the Abukwa have preserved the Insibidi language in the form of La Firma, and like their brothers in Southeast Nigeria, the script remains a guarded secret for only initiated members, still serving as a means of spiritual connection, meditation, transcendence, and manifestation through the rites of divination. Learning this and many other things allowed me to see something special behind the act of writing, and grow in my own understanding of magic and manifestation as a whole. And connecting the story of Insibidi, the Abukwa, the Egbe, and the art of women in Southeast Nigeria with the many stories of writing and the origins of script throughout the world allowed for something to click. When considering the origin stories of many writing forms throughout history, it's clear to me that the story of the Idiok is an allegory. Throughout the world, the spirits connected to writing, or the spirits who have said to have brought writing to the world, are consistently connected to the act of divination and the idea of magic. Most importantly, the idea of the anima, the inner universal mind, or what we call agon in our culture, the arushi of divination and inner wisdom, the arushi that knows what God knows. The Greeks cite Hermes, the personification of the inner mind, and the god of magic, as the bringer of writing. The Egyptians cite Thot, their personification of the inner mind, and the anima, and the wisest spirit of all. The earliest Chinese scripts were written as divination notes on turtle shells and bones, both connected to the inner mind, the act of divination, and the anima. And as you survey the world, the pattern recurs. There's another form of writing that emerged in Southeast Nigeria, known as the Aneke script. A man by the name of Nwagu Aneke wrote 100 textbooks worth of esoteric works and anti-colonial scripts before passing away in 1991. But Aneke's writing was different. Aneke was a successful dibia and a master of divination who, by his own accord, was chosen by Agon, the Arushi of divination and the internal mind, to enter the forest of his native Umuleri and reveal the world's secrets through script. When Agon first chose him, the community feared that he had lost his mind, for in order to do this, the spirit instructed him to look on the back of leaves and derive the symbols for the new form of writing based on the patterns he would see. After his mission in the forest of Umuleri was complete, Aneke emerged and dedicated his life to revealing what the gods had revealed to him through his new script. And through learning the Aneke script, one can unlock the esoteric knowledge of the great diviner, as well as his commentaries on neo-colonialism and the liberation of the African continent. So to me, the story of the Idiok, the story of Joseph Aneke, and various stories related to the emergence of writing tell of a similar pattern. The forest of the Idiok is the inner mind. It is vast, it is dark, and it is unknown. It is scary to think about entering. But once you find a way to enter, be it meditation, prayer, thought, or revelation, the things you feared within it will scatter. Then, like the Uguakim, you will see truth, and it'll scare you. But like the Uguakim, by holding still in the vast wilderness, the truth will teach you something. The truth will give you its magic, and you will leave the forest with something that can change your life or the world around you. And this story recurs again and again throughout history. So when I hear stories with similar patterns and different characters, I know that I'm witnessing an allegory for something that is universal and something that is human. So from this, I learned to reconsider how I see writing, as those who brought it to us did not see writing the way we see it today. Beyond a method of documentation and art, I've incorporated Nsibidi in my own spiritual manifestation and meditation practices. I began learning how to use the script to access my inner mind and manifest my will, as well as seeing the magic in the writing sigils and scripts of others. Because through learning about Nsibidi, I have a fuller understanding of what writing has always been. And that's it. This topic was a lot of fun for me to cover, and I appreciate you guys for watching.
Yeah, we definitely gotta give him a like, right? We definitely gotta give him a like. That's a great video, in my opinion. I would love to hear what you guys think. I thought that video was excellent. Hey, the audio works, everyone. That's cool. I finally fixed it. So hopefully people are actually like tuning in, watching on Instagram today, watching on these other channels. I have no idea why you guys have been hanging out for so long. Like the 3 or 4 of you who hang out on Instagram. God bless you. You can't hear a word I'm saying. Well, now you can. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys thought of that one. Dr. Cosmic, if you're still with us, if that was new to you, I would love to hear. Phenomenal. Well, go ahead and unmute yourself, Doc. I got time. We can stretch out. Ethereal Goddess says, really fascinating topic. I really appreciate and enjoy this series on ancient symbolism. Thank you. All right, Doc, take your time. You know, and I have to say, I haven't checked. I checked out one other. He has a video where he demonstrates Nsibidi, which is really cool. He draws, I think, 50 words, maybe 20, 25 words. I don't know. But he has a Patreon. I'm about to join his Patreon at the top level. I mean, he's clearly just so well researched on the topic and on Egbe spirituality in general. I was just so impressed. I could not be more impressed. For those of us who have been researching, and this is why I'm excited to get Cosmic on here, for those of us who have been independently researching on these lines, I expect that for me, he connected a lot of dots, and opened a lot of new avenues for exploration and thought. And, you know, what I thought was so interesting was everything he described reminded me of how I think of when I do, like, parchment amulets, Hebrew parchment amulets. That, like, the independent, and when you get into real Kabbalah, the reading through, you know, the letters of Dr. Falk and stuff like that, they're not using amulets like the stuff we see in books and on the web where there's full words and stuff. No, the individual letters and signs are positioned and scaled different ways, very much becoming iconographic, and you really have to know the secret meanings of every letter and things like that. Even more secret than the symbolic meanings, right? There's the public symbolic, like that alphabet that we saw in the video before this one, but then also there's another level of meaning that is just, again, the same symbol pointing to a different referent, right? So it's interesting to see how, I don't know if I could say widespread it is, but how essential this is to these magical systems. And we can now bring this and think about it even in our own language. We don't have to, you know, I think one of the natural reactions upon seeing that is saying, well, I want to find out about Nsibidi and I want to use that in my practice. And you can. If you go about it the right way, I'm sure you can. Probably joining this guy's Patreon and he has his whole research library in there, that's probably a great way to start and do your research and figure it out. But if not, you can certainly do that with symbols. If you've taken Hoodoo Academy with me and Dr. Cosmic, we talk about why written and symbolic work is so powerful, how to work with just a piece of paper and a pen. And that's that concept right there. Or that I rather expect that video is about to be grafted into the Hoodoo Academy curriculum because of how it really shows the foundation. And what it does is it makes explicit sort of intentions and purposes and uses and functions of a spiritual language or a symbol language without which is not usually explicit. That's usually implicit. By the time we get it in a later generational form, by the time it's here in the Americas, we're seeing the expression of it. But that underneath kind of why and how it works and who made it, they just say, we don't know. That was back. The ancestors came up with it, right? So when we start to see sort of the knots under the rug, so to speak, the back of the tapestry, it just gives us a whole new view of, now.
And I tell you, Chuck.
Oh, here he is. There he is. Is that part of the Hoodoo Academy curriculum now, Doc?
Well, I just came into every day. I just stepped back in, so I don't know what you were saying. I don't want to agree to something and then have stood away. Another 21 years of my life under
I think that
parchment paper.
That second video is going to be part of when we talk about the written.
Well, absolutely. That's got to be part of their supplemental material. They can't. How can they have a fuller or anywhere near a comprehensive understanding of a written script, of petitions, even of prayer, of scripture? Even, I mean, literally the first 5 words of scripts. I don't see how we could not include that. I think it would be quite egregious.
So I thought that was. I was just so impressed with that presentation. I thought it was comprehensive.
We need to email him.
Yeah, I intend to. I'm going to sponsor his Patreon before the Sabbath here.
We need to email him and send him some kudos and some money and some blessing, and just say thank you. I spoke with Master Prophet yesterday.
Oh, that's right. I know that.
Oh my goodness, I'm still just.
You sound a little electrified. You sound electrified.
Veritably buzzing.
Yeah, veritably buzzing is how you sound. Yeah. I can hear it.
And
I can hear it.
I tell you what, one thing he taught me was about. He said, "You tip people well."
Well, yeah.
Tip people well.
Yeah.
So we had to tip him very well, and had a tremendous time. I haven't seen him since I haven't seen him. I thought it was last year was the last time I saw him.
No, but you didn't see him last year because of the pandemic.
Bad Tim. So it had to have been the year before last November.
So that was 2 years ago.
Right. So that he had laid eyes on him, and let me just tell you, it was a blessing. Now they put me in this 4-star, and it don't feel like 4 stars. It don't feel like 4. I said, don't y'all make sure y'all don't call me afterwards, ask me for a review, because you're not gonna be happy. They didn't have plasticware, and then they couldn't find could not find a cook for breakfast. 2 hours they couldn't find a cook for breakfast.
That's weird. So as much as I'm interested in breakfast, we can talk about that back channel. Tell me about what Master Prophet said. Well, then again, I know breakfast is extremely important to you. Did I lose Doc with my flippant response about his breakfast?
Pissed.
I guess. Doc, please unmute yourself if you're still here. I apologize. I know breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I haven't had mine yet, so I'm a little out of it. Well, we may have lost Doc there. Let's continue rolling, I guess. If anyone wants to continue the conversation, I'd love to do that. Or let's just jump right into the meditation. Cool. I guess everyone's just quiet and listening today. I thought that video was just so good. I really enjoyed every aspect of it. And I wish I had the channel up in front of me so I could tell you once again who it was. But unfortunately, I put that away. But we'll have a recording of this. So that's the good news. Where's the Zoom call? I think we may have dropped off Zoom here. No, I think we're still live on Zoom. Okay. Well, you know, this computer's definitely confusing me. If anyone wants to produce a show, please join me. All right, email me at moses@hoodoomoses.com. That would be very helpful. So, I cannot tell if we're still on Zoom. I think we may not be on Zoom. All right, I guess I'll reconnect to Zoom and we'll keep talking to everybody else, and then we'll lead into meditation. That's strange. I wonder why that happened. I think I know why that happened.
Why?
Scheduled call. Let's see. Yeah, the event ended. The Zoom event ended. The Zoom event ended. That's what happened. Well, hopefully everyone who's watching on Zoom is now checked in on Instagram and everywhere else where we're still live.
I don't know that they know it's still live.
That's true. Well, that's a bummer. I'm not going to miss out on meditation.
No.
I'm going to post to the community real quick.
Yeah.
And say, hey guys, we're still live. Check it on Twitch. Zoom ended. There we go. So, post without a topic. Notify everybody. Okay, so that's what happened. The Zoom call cut out. We've solved the mystery, and that's probably what happened the other day, too. So the Zoom call cuts out before noon. Now we know. The more you know. Well, anyway, you guys are joining us from all over the place. I do not have eyes on the Instagram chat. And let me rectify that, right? Because it's about time for us to meditate. And I actually have no idea how many people are with us, how many people have practiced this meditation with us before, or really what we got going on here. Let me figure that out, and we'll determine. Oh, I'm not live on Instagram anymore. Oh well. Let me reconvene the peoples then, and we'll continue this stream when we get to it. Off to a rocky start here, but we figured out the sound, so we'll be better tomorrow.